Hello, it's IINO. This time, I would like to broadcast logistics news in April 2023. I will explain about the latest news from North America, the development of green fuels in response to CO2 emission regulations, and the expansion of the cold chain market in Southeast Asia. So, let's get started. Labor management negotiations at North American West Coast ports reached tentative agreement on port automation. North American labor management negotiations have reportedly reached an agreement on one of the major hurdles that has been a long time coming, and negotiations can now focus on wages. ILWU, International Longshore and Warehouse Union, has reached a tentative agreement in negotiations with PMA, Pacific Maritime Association, on cargo terminal automation, clearing one of the major hurdles in talks for a new contract. This leaves wage negotiations as the main labor management bargaining topic. North American retailers save big on ocean freight costs. With ocean freight rates now down to levels before COVID-19 pandemic, North American retailers are reportedly saving big on ocean container shipping. Due to the steep decline in cargo volumes that began last fall, shipping lines are struggling to fill space on their mainline vessels. As a result of this decline, spot freight rates have plummeted more than 90% from the highs under the corona pandemic. Therefore, North American retailers are trying to delay annual contracts and further discount ocean freight rates. Some shippers are not particularly anxious to move forward with contracts because they are not worried about securing space on their vessels, and they are willing to compete in the spot market to make a profit. Japanese companies expands Cryogenic logistics business in Vietnam. C&F Logistics Holdings local subsidiary, Mateo Vietnam, plans to build a low-temperature warehouse in the Southern Economic Zone centered on Ho Chi Minh City. The warehouse has greatly expanded its storage capacity and is expected to become the largest cold storage facility in Vietnam for a Japanese logistics company. Furthermore, the company also operates a joint venture transportation company, T&M Transportation, which operates temperature-controlled vehicles. It also started a regular low-temperature service between Ho Chi Minh City and Hanoi. With Vietnam's economic growth, especially in the southern metropolitan areas, living standards have improved, and demand for high-quality food products has increased. With the increasing penetration of refrigerators, demand for frozen and chilled foods is expanding, and demand for a cold chain that can guarantee end-to-end quality is rising. Fossil fuel prices to surpass green fuels by 2025? According to a study by Longspur Capital, tighter CO2 emission regulations for ships could make fossil fuels more expensive than low-carbon alternatives as early as 2025. Background factors include soaring energy prices due to the Russia-Ukraine crisis, and the spread of decarbonization efforts and taxation around the world. The EU plans to introduce a tax on ship fuel and impose emissions penalties under the Fuel EU Maritime Initiative, in addition to a CO2 emissions trading scheme, ETS, for ships starting in 2024. The IMO has introduced tighter overall energy efficiency limits for ships and aims to reduce CO2 emissions by 40% by 2030. Sumitomo Corporation to study ammonia fuel business on the east coast of North America. Sumitomo Corporation, together with Maersk, a Danish shipping company, the Port Authority of Georgia, USA, and others, will start studying an ammonia fuel supply business for ships at the Port of Savannah, on the east coast of North America. The joint study will examine the development of a competitive green ammonia supply network, the design and development of ammonia bunkering vessels, and related infrastructure, such as marine transportation and storage. Although specific studies will be conducted in the future, it is assumed that green ammonia will be procured from Chile and Canada, which are among the most cost-competitive in the world. As a transitional measure, they are also considering the use of blue ammonia, which is expected to be produced in large quantities, at low cost in the United States. Let's turn now to the commentary section of this issue's news. First, I would like to report 3 on the North American labor management negotiations. A tentative agreement has been reached on an agenda item regarding automation at the ports which had been expected to be a difficult topic of negotiations. However, the PMA issued a statement saying that key issues remain unresolved and that some dock workers in Southern California continue to disrupt port operations. Executives who run private cargo handling companies at nearby Southern California ports say that dock workers have been late for work and have raised deceptive safety issues with container handling equipment. In a statement, PMA said, "These illegal labor practices have disrupted operations at the largest and most active terminal in the United States." In the midst of labor negotiations, there is indeed a kind of harassment of dock workers, and I believe that negotiations are in the final stages, with the continued presence of these disturbances. I will continue to update you with information. I have continued to bring you news from North America. Currently, ocean freight rates are plummeting due to a decrease in freight demand, providing an opportunity for retailers to significantly reduce costs. Many retailers are carrying large inventory imported last year, and some shippers are competing in the spot market to make a profit. The average contract rate for containerized shipments from Asia to the U.S. West Coast was $1,957, down 71% from last year. The average spot rate was $1,289, $668 lower than contract freight rates. Conditions remain challenging for the marine transportation industry, and there are concerns about further impacts, depending on future market trends. Depending on future market conditions and changes in demand, the industry as a whole is expected to reorganize, and competition is likely to intensify, so market trends will continue to attract attention in the future. Next comes news of the expansion of the cold chain market in Southeast Asia. One after another, Japanese companies are expanding their cold storage business in Vietnam. The market size of Vietnam's cold storage has been expanding at a high annual growth rate of 8.6% for the 5 years since 2016. Growth is expected to further accelerate over the 5-year period beginning in 2021, with an annual increase of 14.2%, according to the report. Existing refrigerated warehouses are aging and in short supply. The cold chain market in Southeast Asia, including Vietnam and Thailand, is expected to continue to grow significantly. With the economic growth of Southeast Asian countries, the middle class is increasing. This has increased consumer awareness of quality and safety, and demand for frozen and chilled foods and other products is on the rise. Southeast Asian countries are improving their transportation infrastructures and logistics efficiency. This will enable cold chain in a wider area, and is expected to expand the market. Particular attention is expected to be paid to cold chain that enables end-to-end quality control and environmentally friendly technologies and services. Finally, I sent you 2 news items related to marine fuels. The first is news of a study showing that conventional fossil fuels will exceed the price of green fuels by 2025. Various green fuels are being introduced to meet CO2 emission regulations. Natural gas-derived methanol, also known as gray methanol, has already been identified as a promising marine fuel with important advantages. Methanol is said to offer a practical way to meet stringent CO2 emission regulations by the IMO, International Maritime Organization, and the European Union, with more than 100 ships currently in service or on order with methanol fuel. However, Hapag-Lloyd CEO said, methanol is just one of several alternative fuel candidates being employed on container ships. Ammonia and hydrogen, while not yet technologically advanced enough to be used as fuels, are attracting attention as potential alternative fuels in the future. The second news is about the ammonia fuel business. Sumitomo Corporation, in collaboration with Maersk, the Port Authority of Georgia, and others, will begin studying an ammonia fuel supply business for ships at the Port of Savannah. Green ammonia is a fuel that is particularly promising for contributing to the decarbonization of the shipping industry and the world, because it is produced from renewable energy, water, and air and has no CO2 emissions throughout its life cycle. Through the study, participating companies and organizations will bring their knowledge and expertise to establish a supply chain for green ammonia fuel. According to Sumitomo Corporation officials, methanol, ammonia, and hydrogen are seen as leading candidates for next-generation fuels for marine use, amid the growing trend toward decarbonization. In addition, it will be actively involved in supplying new fuels, such as ammonia, in response to diversifying customer needs, the officials said. As reported earlier in the news, methanol is beginning to transition as an alternative fuel. Ammonia is already being used in fertilizer applications, for example, and we already have the know-how to transport and store it. The shipping industry is also moving toward decarbonization. It will be interesting to see where the main alternative energy sources will be in the future. How was this news? As the industry moves toward decarbonization, technology is advancing, and North American labor negotiations are in their final stages. We are keeping a close eye on the situation. I will continue to update you on these developments. If you found this news informative, please subscribe to our channel, like it, and share on social networking sites. That's all for today. Thank you very much.
In this channel, I explain about international logistics knowledge for your better understanding. I hope this video will be a good support for your logistics job. If you have any shipment from Thailand or to Thailand, please feel free to contact me IINO-san anytime. Also, I'm very motivated to keep updating these videos. If you subscribe, press good, or comment anything. Well, thank you. See you next time.